God will punish you. Now and forever. Criminals. Any judgment, let it be on record. Any judgment given in this court is rubbish. Ask him where is the law. Ask Omotosho, where is the law? Where is the law?
Today, my people, we are diving into one of the biggest stories shaking Nigeria right now. As I'm talking to you, it is still unfolding live in Abuja. We are talking about the courtroom drama involving Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. If you remember, the Federal High Court in Abuja had fixed today, November 20, 2025, to deliver its judgment in the terrorism case against the IPOB leader. The whole nation was waiting. Security was tightened in Abuja and the southeast, and for the first time, the proceedings were being broadcast live on television. Everyone expected the judge to just come in and read the verdict. But my people, that is not what happened. The courtroom turned into a serious dramatic scene. So, what exactly happened? Let's break it down. When the case was called, the judge, Justice Omotosho, noted that after the date was set for judgment, Kanu had filed several new motions. The court allowed him to argue these motions. One of his main requests was for the judge to stop the judgment and instead refer the entire case to the Court of Appeal for their opinion on some fundamental legal issues. He also asked again to be granted bail. But the court was not having it. Justice Omotosho dismissed all these fresh motions. He stated that the issues Kanu was raising had already been decided before. He also referred to a section of the law that forbids staying proceedings in a criminal case. So, with those motions out of the way, the judge prepared to finally deliver the judgment. But this was where the main jibeji started. As the judge was about to begin reading the judgment, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu stood up and started speaking. He insisted that the court could not deliver a judgment because he had not even been allowed to file his final written address in his own defense. He felt this was a fundamental breach of his right to a fair hearing. His voice grew louder and he became very agitated. He challenged the judge, asking him to show him, to point out where it is written in the law that he is not entitled to file a written address. He was basically shouting, "Where is the law? Show me the law." Then he even accused the judge of not knowing the law and of being biased. As you can imagine, the courtroom was in tension. Now, from the judge's perspective, he had a different story. Justice Omotosho had previously stated that the court had given Kanu every possible opportunity to defend himself, but that Kanu had consistently declined to do so. The judge had even given him 6 full days to open his defense, but Kanu refused, arguing that he was being tried under a law that had already been repealed. The judge felt that by refusing to use the opportunities given to him, Kanu had essentially waived his right to a defense. So, in response to the outburst, Justice Omotosho did what he felt was necessary to maintain the dignity of the court. He saw Kanu's behavior as unruly and disruptive. He then gave an order to the security agents in the courtroom. They should take Nnamdi Kanu out. And just like that, the man at the center of the whole case was bundled out of the courtroom. Now, this is where we are as I speak to you. The judge proceeded with the session in Nnamdi Kanu's absence. The judgment is being delivered right now without the defendant physically in the room. We don't know the outcome yet, but it is a historic and unprecedented moment in Nigeria's legal history. Before you go anywhere, my people, I want you to think about this. What is the real issue here? Let's talk about it. On one hand, the government is prosecuting Kanu for serious allegations of terrorism and treason. They say he incited violence and called for the breakup of Nigeria. They want a conviction. On the other hand, Kanu and his team have been arguing that the entire trial is flawed from the foundation. Their main argument, which they have taken all the way to the Supreme Court in a different motion, is that the Terrorism Prevention Act he was originally charged under in 2015 has been repealed and replaced by a new law in 2022. They are asking, how can you try and convict someone under a law that no longer exists? This is the core of the "where is the law?" frustration. It's a deep legal and political dilemma. Is this a matter of national security or a matter of fundamental human rights and legal procedure? Everyone is watching to see how this will be resolved. So, the judge, Justice Omotosho, continued with the proceedings after Kanu was taken out. The atmosphere was incredibly tense. Everyone was waiting for the final judgment. Would it be guilty or not guilty? After carefully reviewing the evidence and arguments presented by the prosecution, Justice Omotosho delivered his judgment. He found Nnamdi Kanu guilty on several counts related to terrorism and treason. The judge stated that the prosecution had successfully proven its case beyond a reasonable doubt. He highlighted that Kanu, through his broadcasts on Radio Biafra, had indeed incited violence and made statements threatening the unity and sovereignty of Nigeria. The court found that his actions amounted to terrorism and treasonable felony. Now, my people, this is a very significant moment. This conviction is a major milestone in a case that has been going on for years, moving from one court to another. But wait, the story doesn't end with the conviction. The next big question was, what would the sentence be? The judge moved to the sentencing phase. The prosecution team, led by the Attorney General of the Federation, Prince Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, urged the court to give a conviction that would serve as a deterrent to others. They argued that the crimes were very serious and affected the national security of the country. Now, before I give you the sentence, let me quickly remind you why you are here. If you're getting value from this real-time breakdown of this national event, please show your support. Like this video right now, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so you never miss any of our updates. Your support is what keeps us going. Alright, back to the story. After considering the arguments for sentencing, Justice James Omotosho pronounced the sentence. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was sentenced to a significant term of imprisonment. This, my people, is a landmark judgment. It is the culmination of a long and tortuous legal journey. But let me add this important talk. This case touches on very deep issues in Nigeria. It touches on the issue of self-determination, on the limits of free speech, and on the relationship between the government and different ethnic groups in the country. For many of his supporters, Nnamdi Kanu is a freedom fighter, a man who is speaking up for the grievances of his people. They see this trial and conviction as persecution. For the Nigerian government, he is a separatist leader whose actions have led to violence, loss of lives, and economic disruption in the southeast region. They see this as a necessary step to uphold the law and protect the country's unity. So, as we digest this news, it is important for us as citizens to think deeply. We must always remember that while everyone is entitled to their beliefs and to express their grievances, it must be done within the ambits of the law and without inciting violence. The good thing about our system is that the legal process is not over. Kanu's legal team has already indicated that they will appeal this judgment all the way to the Supreme Court if necessary. So, this is not the final chapter. The gist will continue. My wonderful audience, that is the conclusion of the judgment for today. It has been a historic day. I want to hear from you. What is your take on this entire situation? Do you think the judgment was fair? Do you think it will bring peace to the Southeast? Let's have a peaceful and educative conversation in the comment section below. Remember, we are one Nigeria. Please, if this video has enlightened you, do not keep it to yourself. Share it with your friends and family. Once again, like this video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications.